Okay. All right, guys, before we get started, are there any questions over any of the assignments thus far? Question over any of the assignments thus far? Questions over any of the homework assignments? Okay, guys, what we're starting today is section 2.4. 2.4 is the last section of chapter 2. This is it. Now, what we're doing with this here is we're wanting to find the equation of the parabola given two pieces of information. So it's going to come in one of two forms, either in vertex form or x-intercept form. If it's going to be in vertex form, they're going to give us a point and the vertex. So they're going to give us a point and the vertex. If the equation is going to end up in x-intercept form, they're going to give us the x-intercepts either as 2 points, or they're going to tell us the x-intercepts are these two values, and then they will give us a third point. And that's it. And we need to line it up which one we will use and go from there. So when we look at this first example, this here, they tell us the vertex is the point 3, 2, and it passes through the point 13, 8. Now again, there's one of two equations we're going to use for this here. We're either going to use vertex form or x-intercept form. Now, so guys, so the first thing we need to do is figure out which of the two forms we need to use, either vertex or x-intercept. Well, they gave us the vertex and a point, yes? So we're going to use vertex form. So the first thing I'm going to do is start off by writing the equation. So for us to finish this problem up, for us to be done, to find this equation, we need to find the value that's going to go in place of A, H, and K. Because once we have those three values, we plug them in, we're finished. We have the equation. So the Y value is going to be our output value for this one here. X is the input. So those are going to stay there. Now, the vertex is still the point H, comma, K. So just from the vertex, it tells us the value of H is 3. The value of K is 2. But that still leaves us with the value of A. So for our equation here, Y equals A, parentheses, X minus our H value, squared plus the K value. Questions on any of this so far? So we picked vertex form mainly because one of the pieces of information they gave us was the vertex. Since they gave us vertex, we're going to be using vertex form. The vertex is the point H, comma, K, so we know the value of H, and we know the value of K just from the vertex. But the only piece of information we're missing is the value of A. That's the only piece of information we're missing. Now to find the value of A, we're going to need to use the point it passes through. Now what they say passes through, it's saying that the quadratic equation for whatever value of A, whatever value this A is, whenever we plug 13 in for X, the Y value will be 8. That's what that point is saying, that point's on the graph. So if we plug 13 in for X, the Y value will be 8. So the last piece of information, the way we find A is we take this equation, minus, and I'm going to plug this point in. So we're saying that when I plug 13 in for X, the Y value will be 8. So the first part is one picking the correct equation. Since we have the vertex, we're going to be using vertex form. We know the vertex is h comma k, so we plugged in 3 and 2 for h and k. But to find the value of A, we're going to use the point it passes through, plug in x and y in their corresponding spots. And if we look at this equation in red, after plugging in 13 and 8 in for x and y, how many variables do we have left? 1, we just have A. So what we need to do is to solve for the value of A and then plug it back in. Now the first thing we can do is 13 minus 3, which is 10. 10 squared is 100. 10 times 10 is 100. More specifically, it would give us 100A, because that 10 squared is being multiplied by the A. We have 100A. Now we need to get A by itself. So the first thing we can do is minus 2. When we subtract 2 from both sides, we get that 100A is equal to 6. Is A by itself? No, so the last thing we need to do is divide by 100. And if we divide both sides by 100, we do get A by itself. But we do need to simplify 6 over 100 if we can. Pull this up. 6 over 100 is 3 over 50, or 0.06. So the value for A in this problem here is 3 over 50. Questions on how we found the value of A? Last thing we need to do is plug it in. Y equals question on this here. That's the same thing. All right, we ready to look at the next one? Vertex is the point -5, 9, and passes through the point -7, -15. Again, they gave us vertex and a point. Well, again, we have to pick between vertex form or x-intercept form. Well, since they gave us the vertex, we're going to use vertex form. Our y equals a parentheses x minus h squared plus k. again, the vertex is still the point h comma k. So the h value is -5. The k value is 9. So we have y equals a times x minus -5 squared plus 9. I'm just replacing h and k with their given values. Now exactly our negative or minus -5, well, that negative makes a positive, makes a plus. Well, looking at this here, we haven't done any calculations yet, but we do have 2/3 of the equation that we need. We have found the value of h, we found the value of k. Now we just need to find the value of a. And to find the value of a, just like the last one, we're going to take this point, -715, which for any point, it comes in the form of x comma y. The vertex is technically x comma y, but we denote it as h comma k just because it is the vertex. It's attaching those transformations. And to calculate this, well, we're going to replace y with its value, which is -15, is equal to a times -7 plus 5 squared plus 9. Because again, we need to find what value of a will make it so that when we plug -7 into the equation, we get -15 as the output. Questions on this here? We could do -7 plus 5. -7 plus 5 is -2 squared. Almost. 4. Because -2 times -2 will be +4. Now we need to get a by itself, and the first thing we can do is subtract 9. It's not incorrect to divide everything by 4. I just wouldn't do it first, because it is a proper step to do it, but if we divided it by 4, we'd have to divide the -15, the 4a, and the 9 by the 4. We have to divide everything by that 4. It's a little bit easier to do our addition subtraction first. Yeah, save the multiplication division later. It just makes it a little bit easier. You're good. It's very tempting to want to do that first. And plug it back in, so y equals -6. X plus 5 squared plus 9. Now, in certain problems, you get to the final answer and it doesn't seem like it should be correct or it's not the right answer. We can always check it. Because again, they said it passes through the point -7 comma -15. When the x value is -7, the y value is -15. So what I could do, we could do this in a calculator, is I can say -6 parentheses, -7 plus 5 squared plus 9. This is the exact same equation we had, yes? But instead of putting the x value, I plug it in as -7. And I could hit enter, and we get, that's the value we're supposed to get, yes? I mean, we could do the same thing, -6 parentheses, -5 plus 5 parentheses squared plus 9, because that -5 is the x value of the vertex, yes? And the y value of the vertex was 9, yes? So I can check those 2 points. I can plug them back in and see, do I get the y value, corresponding value for those? Because if I do, that means I do have the correct equation. It did work out. Questions on any of this here? Because on the homework, we might get nice numbers like -6, or 3/50, is not as nice of a number, but it's still a pretty nice number. We might get some not nice fractions, but again, that's a way to check to make sure we got them right. Any questions on examples 1 or example 2? Huh? So, for example 3, it says the x-intercepts are -7 and -3 and passes through the point -2, 0.05. So would we still use vertex form? No, because it does not say the vertex is this point, correct? But what does it tell us? The x-intercepts, yes? Which instead of the vertex form, we're going to use x-intercept form. And with these problems here, it's pretty much going to tell us which form, because it's either going to give us the vertex for vertex form, or it's going to give us the x-intercepts for x-intercept form. It's going to tell us which one. So since it's x-intercept form, y is equal to a times x minus p times x minus q. And we've gone over this form already. It's been over a week, but we've gone over this form with p and q, because the values of p and q are the x values of the x-intercepts. Y'all remember what the y value of the x-intercept is? 0. As it's where it crosses the x-axis. The y value is always at 0 at the x-axis. The x value is 0 at the y-axis. So what we're also saying is that this is the point -7, 0. -3, 0. Now, which value is p and which one is q? Yes. You just have to pick one of them as p. And -3 is q. But again, we can multiply any two things in any order, so if you put -3 first instead of -7, that is perfectly fine. They are the same thing. But looking back at this here, negative minus -7 minus -3, the negative makes a plus in both cases, telling us y equals a times x plus 7 times x plus 3. Kind of like with vertex form, yes? The only three variables we had were a, p, and q, yes? We said p in our case is -7. We said q is -3. I'm only finding a. Again, have we done any real calculations at this point? Well, no, we haven't really calculated. We haven't really solved technically for anything. And I have 2/3 of the problem done. That's what's nice about these here. And again, just like with vertex, the last two we did, we're going to use this point to find the value of a. So the y value is 0.05 is equal to a times -2 plus 7 times -2 plus 3. Now we're just going to solve for the value of a. So we have 0.05 equals a. Our -2 plus 7 is 5. -2 plus 3 is 1. So we have 5a. Lastly, we need to divide both sides by 5. 5a divided by 5 would be 1a. 0.05 divided by 5 is 0.01. Or 1 over what? 100. Because how many decimals do we have to move it to get the decimal on the other side of the 1? Well, we got to move it once, then we got to move it twice. Once would be 10, twice is 100. So we could put it in either form. Y equals 0.01 x plus 7 times x plus 3. Or if we want to say y equals 1 over 100, x plus 7, x plus 3. Either will work, you just have to pick one of them. Questions on this here? We ready to look at another one? Example number 4. Negative 16 comma 0 and negative 2 comma 0 and passes through this point. Did they tell us? Did they give us the vertex? No. And most of the time when they give us the vertex, they're going to tell us it's the vertex because we need more information than that. But also looking at the two forms, vertex form gave us how many points to start with? 2. It gave us the vertex and the point it passes through, yes? X-intercept gave us how many points? 3, because we have 2 for x-intercepts, and then we have the point it passes through, yes? How many points did this one give us? 3. That's another giveaway that it's x-intercept. Yes, because the x-intercepts are the point p comma 0 and q comma 0. Because the y value at the x-intercept will always be 0. And again, p and q are interchangeable. So we could say p is negative 16 or negative 2, and q would be the other. We can't say they're both negative 16 unless they actually, there are cases where it could be, it just means they only have one unique x-intercept. So, knowing this, we can say y equals a times x minus negative 16 times x minus negative 2. And again, just like our last one, the negative and negative would make a positive. Do the values of p and q always have to be negative? No, it's just turned out the last few have been that way. P and q could both be positive. One could be positive, one can be negative. They don't have to always be negative. Questions on this so far? Now the last thing we have to do is plug in our point. And again, our point comes in the form of x comma y. So we're going to plug 72 in for y. So 72 equals a parentheses negative 18 plus 16 times negative 18 plus 2. Our negative 18 plus 16 is, bless you, negative 2. Negative 18 plus 2 is negative 16. That's kind of funny. Now we do need to multiply these three together. So our negative 2 times negative 16 would be positive 32. Okay. 72 over 32. 9/4. think you would have eventually gotten there. It would have just taken a few steps because we could have done 2 first, which would have been 36 over 16. 36 over 16 again would have been 16, or 36 would have been 18 over 8, and then one more time would have got it there. It would have taken, yeah, because I about switched to 16, but last thing we got to do is plug it back in for A. Huh? How do we feel about these here? Do we feel good with these? Do we need to see another example of one of these? Okay.